So that's infinite monarch points, as well as infinite population, infinite money, infinite manpower, infinite armies. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. I am the Spiffing Brit, and you know what? I've been on holiday for so long. What's happened? Well, Imperator Rome got released, and now that it's released, I can finally review the game, break the game even more, and also, hopefully Paradox won't ban me from PDXCon due to this. It should all be good. Anyway, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Imperator Rome, the latest game to be released by the Swedish developers Paradox Interactive, featuring some wonderful standard grand strategy features that Paradox is known for, and my favourite new character, Tomato Man. Honestly, I have no idea who he is, but hey, I like having Tomato Man in all of my loading screens. Anyway, today, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to give you one of the greatest things known to man, a very meaty exploit that will totally destroy your game. Have you ever played as a tiny Danish tribe and wished that one day you could take Rome? Well, what if I told you you could take Rome within the first 20 years of the game? That's right, as any tiny little Danish miner, you too can decide to take on the world's most powerful nation. Honestly, if you also don't want to just defeat Rome, you can also go on to defeat all of the other nations in this game. Effectively, I'm going to show you how to break the game using an exploit, and then we're going to use that exploit to cheese tons of the game's mechanics. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're sat back, relaxed, you have your warm cup of Yorkshire tea sat next to you, that's the correct way to watch one of these videos. And if you're new here and this is your first Spiffing Brit video, give us a shout. It would be absolutely lovely to have you here in the community. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Anyway, without further ado, wabam! Let's dive into this game in a new single player one. So here we have it, the incredible world of Imperator Rome. It is absolutely massive. It spans all the way down here to India, and you have tiny tribes all the way up here in Norway, Denmark and Sweden. Now the map has a lot going for it, like there are all these tiny little cities which need to be conquered. I, however, don't want any of those. I simply want to play as a mighty, tiny Norwegian migratory tribe. Welcome to the nation of Grania. Tactically speaking, it is probably one of the weakest countries in the entire game. It starts as a migratory tribe, it has no citizens, meaning it physically can't research. Its centralization is so low that it's really bad at settling land, and effectively expanding to the degree where you could take on Rome in this game is next to impossible. However, I'm the Spiffing Brit, and I'm not going to let a tiny little setback like that one defeat me from taking over Rome. So we're going to start our game as Ingric Gerloldus of the lovely Grenania tribe. Oh, look at him, he has a mighty beard and a lovely egghead. That is actually almost a perfect sphere of an egghead. Oh, and we can also see that his traits are energetic, dumb, steadfast and assertive. You know what? That's exactly what I look for in a character. You're perfect. So we're going to jump into a brand new normal game, and we're going to whack on Iron Man mode, meaning we can now gain achievements, and also we're no longer allowed to cheat, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, no cheating! Now we start out the game with two tiny little armies, but don't worry, we don't need to worry about either of them. They're just our clan chiefs, they'll do their own thing. The one thing that we do need to worry about, and actually consider, are the lands to our north. Now, these are wastelands, they can't be colonized, and as you can see, they, for some reason, I don't know, protect us from the north, and there's a ton of White Walkers up there. But this impassable terrain here of Fool is very special, because like some other impassable terrains in the world, this is a minor barbarian stronghold. This means until the end of the game, each month there's going to be a 0.04 increase in barbarians here. Now, as the barbarians grow, you get a percentage chance of barbarians spawning, and when barbarians spawn, ladies and gentlemen, we can break the game. Anyway, let's go for a few little omens to start off with our wonderful experience. So naturally want to go for Favour the Earth and rack up some national tax modifier. Now, as we're playing a tiny Norwegian tribe, you might have guessed that, well, we only really have tribesmen. We have no freemans, we have no citizens, no one is particularly intelligent, we only have lovely tribesmen. Our tribesmen, however, are effectively godlike, for the sole reason that their average happiness is at plus 100%, and also meaning that their total output is increased by 190%. Tribesmen give you both money and manpower, which are literally the two main resources you can get from pops in this game. But realistically speaking, tribesmen are better than freemen, and they're also technically better than slaves, meaning we might as well have as many tribesmen as we can. However, how do you generate tribesmen? tribesmen? Well, the game would have you believe that the only way you can particularly grow pops is either by events or waiting for them to slowly grow over time. As you can see here, our next tribesman should spring into existence in about 20 years' time. I'm afraid that's just not going to do for me. I'm going to need them a little bit sooner. Now, pops in this game are literally everything. They govern what you can and can't do, and also how much manpower you have, how much money you can generate, and in the case of being a migratory tribe, how many men you can start to migrate. So, as a migratory tribe, you can effectively leave your lands and move to anywhere else in the world. The best thing is when you're on migration, you don't even have to obey to borders. If you want to just stroll from here all the way down to Rome because you're on a migration, you can. You totally can. The game is honestly like, you know what? You should be able to do that. And so we can. But you might notice that migration isn't perfect. As you can see, to start a migration would cost us 100 oratory power, and it's only going to give us 3 migration units. That's right, it's based on the amount of total pops we have, and we only have 3. So this makes it relatively useless because we click this, we abandon our current province, and we only get 3,000 men. Because that's right, when you migrate, you convert the pops into 1,000 units. Anyway, we can also activate a few lovely little inventions. These are kind of like little tech ups, and my favorite one right here, Tribal Reserve, wabam, tribesman output increased by 5%. Nice, they're suddenly going to be giving us even more money. However, there is one resource which we genuinely can't spend, and that is of course oratory power. We're going to need as much oratory power as we can get, but don't worry, we're going to also be choosing that. Now, as a migratory tribe with absolutely no citizens who are doing research, as you can see, our technology is not going to progress at all. But don't worry, technology is for the weak. We have no need to learn about anything other than vaguely shaped pointy sticks. And so for that reason, we can go to our economy here and just crank up our taxes to high, because it's going to increase our slave output, well, we only have 1 slave, and decrease our total research points. So wabam, our tax rates have increased. Now, we also need to be constantly checking on our lovely barbarians over here. As we can see, their barbarian growth has risen to a mighty 0.64, meaning there is a 0.1% chance each month of a massive stack of barbarians spawning and running down into our lands and starting to pillage them. Now, this might sound like a bad thing, but trust me, it's exactly what we want. Once we do this, the game's broken. You can literally do anything. If you want to be grainier and just waltz right on over here to the Seleucid Empire, over here they have the wonderful city of Babylon. Whereabouts is it? Here it is, Babylon right here. If you want to take Babylon, you can. See those lovely hanging gardens of Babylon? You just waltz on all the way down there, it's yours. Babylon also starts out the game with the largest amount of pops, I do believe. As you can see, there are well over 60 people living here, meaning it is legendary, providing a massive amount of income and also research and manpower. It's an incredible city. However, we're going to do better than that, because yes, we're in the harsh Norwegian wastelands where literally nothing grows other than fish and, in a few hundred years, oil. But sadly, we're playing Imperator Rome, so there's no oil mechanic in this game. Neither is there a tea mechanic, which is honestly devastating. If we take a look at trade goods, look, no tea. You have wine, okay, that makes sense. There's a bit of incense, some spices, but where is my leaf juice? I guess the closest thing we could get is if we boil down some woad in some nice hot water, you might get a bit of a tea taste, but beyond that, there's no tea. And so Paradox Interactive, Imperator Rome is getting a big fat 0 out of 10 in my regards. Where is the tea? Now, as I mentioned, all of these armies here, even though they are part of my nation, they are actually controlled by clan chiefs. Now, we have effectively 2 other clans in our large kingdom who have armies which will march around and fight for me. However, the clan chiefs are a little bit upset. They're relatively angry. So what I'm going to do is just tell them to have a fight to the death, and one of them dies. Lovely. Less clan chiefs to worry about. And now suddenly one of the clan chief armies needs a new leader. Well, it's a shame the old leader died, but hey, I've just been given 4,000 free men. And you know what? I'm going to give those armies to myself. Ah, the cycle of life. Come on, barbarians, how close are we? We're at 1.92. Okay, so that's good. Barbarians have a 0.3% chance of spawning. This is everything we want and more. And I can activate yet another omen. Of course, I'm just going to spam out a ton of Favor of the Earths because I love tasty tax revenue. Now, tax revenue is relatively important in this game because with enough money you can just buy any of these monarch points, also sometimes referred to as mana. Now, mana's a bit of a tricky thing because if I'm honest, it kind of ruins the game a little bit. However, I believe perhaps the system hasn't been fleshed out as well as it could have been. So perhaps in the future, this is going to be a very tasty system to have. But for the time being, you can just cheese the system by converting your money into one of these things. Now, later in the game, we're going to need an absolute ton of oratory power. So we're generating money to put into oratory power so that we can exploit the game in the future. Oh, an event, Unruly Tribesmen. With no warfare to focus on, the tribesmen have started becoming unruly. Oh no. Well, we can spend some military power to try and disperse the rioters, or actually we can do something that's better for us. We can decrease our centralization. You see, we can spread out our people even more. This kind of lowers the national unrest. Yes, it lowers local tax, but honestly, it's going to be worth it. Low centralization means happier tribesmen. Tribesmen don't like to live in a civilized area with tons of running water and the like. It's not that fun. And also a high centralization means barbarians aren't as likely to spawn. And trust me, barbarians are the greatest thing this game has. You definitely want some barbarians. Oh, and I've just gained my first achievement in the game, Tribal Concord. It just popped up in the left there. What does Tribal Concord mean? Apparently, whilst you have a tribal government, change a law. Nice, okay. Apparently we've changed a law. Very good. Oh, and as you can see, our centralization is doing very good. It's at minus 5% centralization, which means the cost of migrating is decreased, and also the tribesman output is constantly increasing. This is exactly what we want, and guess what? We've got another event to decrease centralization. Bam, we'll do it again. Now the migration cost is down 5%, which means if we try and migrate, it's now only 95 instead of being 100. Now, this doesn't seem like a lot, but we're going to stack this again and again and again until we completely and utterly destroy the game. Now, on the government screen, there are some very jazzy things you can do. You can hire specific people to do incredible things like increase recruitment speed, make tribesmen happier, increase your life force, I guess. Yeah, that's what the apothecary person does, but they also do laws. Now, on the law tab, there are some very jazzy things you can do, including this incredible beast over here, Nomadic Heritage. This decreases centralization by 0.2 each and every single month. This, if you can get it off early, is absolutely broken and perfect. This is what we want. We want to be able to take our centralization down to minus 100%. But of course, to do so, we need all of the people in our government to be loyal, and the apothecary person isn't. So we're just going to give him a bribe. And suddenly he's very loyal. And now we go to our government and we're bam, Nomadic Heritage. Yes, our centralization is on the decrease now, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I can feel the success coming. It's going to be very jazzy. Now we're 10 years into the game, and as you can see, not really too much has happened. Our tribe has mostly just set itself up on a train of constant decreasing of our centralization. Already we're at minus 20%, which is quite good. I do believe that means it now costs us only 90 to go migrating, which isn't bad, but of course it could be better, and with time it will be. Anyway, we still just need to sit around and wait until the barbarians of Fool end up spawning. What are the chances at the moment? 1% each month. That's fine. So it's time we just sit back, relax. Maybe at this point you probably should have gone and grabbed a second cup of tea, and we wait for the barbarians to spawn. So I don't know, we can lay on a nice bit of relaxing jazz music, dance along to that as we sit back. Ooh. And hey, if you want to help out my channel and also, you know what, feel very jazzy whilst doing so, you can give this video a like. It's absolutely majestic. In the last video I set like a like target for 15,000 likes, and if I did that I said I'd give out my PO box, and lo and behold I ended up having to give out my PO box. So yes, if you want to go into the community tab section, you can find the details of my PO box where you can send lovely wonderful tea bags. If you're planning to send something to the PO box, or if you could send literally anything to the PO box, tell me in the comments section, what would it be? I imagine 90% of the comments are going to be things like, I would send you a nice cup of tea, and then the occasional heretical American person saying, I would send you a sample of water from the Boston Harbor. Moo-ha-ha-ha-ha-ha. Yes, I get it, you evil beings. Can't believe they do that to the tea. I mean, it just makes no sense. Oh yes, this is it, barbarians. Oh, perfection. My tribal chief, the barbarians have risen in Fool. We should ready our troops to put down the rabble. Yes, okay, if that's what you think should be done, I've no intention of doing that. I would like the barbarians to fight and kill literally everyone. Hopefully my clan chiefs don't actually get in the way, because that would be very annoying. I actually desperately need them to not do that. However, sadly, due to the fact that my clan chiefs are exceedingly disloyal, I have no way of ordering them to do as I want. If my clan chiefs accidentally end up killing these barbarians, oh my goodness. If they do that, Well, we just have to wait for the next barbarians to spawn. What an absolute pain. Come on, tribespeople, you don't have to chase away this tiny little AI nation. You can come over and help us. Like, come on, just siege up some of my lands. Don't stand and attrition your army on a fort that you can't really actually take down. Okay, that's what they're gonna do. Right, looks like we have to wait for the next barbarians to spawn then. Oh, thanks, game. Well, at least the barbarian AI is as good as you'd expect a barbarian to actually be. Alas, yes, it would appear these barbarians have been completely and utterly defeated. So that's the barbarians done for. The AI defeated them. Now I have to wait for the next set of barbarians to spawn. Thanks, game. I'll be back when that's done. Oh, goodness, more tea is going to be consumed for this one. I can feel it. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, it's only taken us almost a decade to get barbarians to spawn again. This time, they've returned with 9,000 men, and they're fighting one of my terrible little clan men here. I'm basically trying to convince all of the clan leaders to not engage in combat, and instead just let them win. So there you go. I'm telling all of my clan men to just effectively retreat from combat. Now's the time not to fight. This is the exact opposite of fighting time. So come on, please, can you just retreat already, army? Apparently they can't quite leave combat yet. There we go. I've managed to get them to retreat. Perfect. Now this means that the barbarians are going to now occupy our lands. Occupying our lands is exactly what we want. And I would like to get my armies out of the way, so I'm going to send them into our AI friends to the left and allow our lovely brand new barbarian friends to occupy the entirety of our nation. Because trust me, barbarians, they're so much nicer to have than just regular human beings. Now, normal barbarians in the world, generally speaking, aren't going to be your culture, which makes them a bit annoying because the interactions that you can have with barbarians are greatly diminished if you're not the same culture and religion. For our barbarians here, as they don't occupy any land, all we can do is simply pay them off and get them to leave all of our lands alone. However, we don't want that. Wabam! They've occupied our lands and they've even decreased the civilization level for us. How kind of them. So these barbarians, we can do a few things. We can ask them to settle our lands, which they're really keen to do. If they settle our lands, they basically drop down a few pops into this local province. Say about probably 2 tribesmen. Nothing really too exciting. And of course, there'll be the same religion and culture group of the barbarians, Chuistic and Rugian. Lo and behold, our entire civilization is built on Chuistic and Rugian peoples. So naturally, we'll just leave all of our empires to be pillaged by these wonderful barbarians. Come on, barbarians, occupy all of our tasty lands. And here we have it. Lovely. The barbarians are sieging up our capital. We need them to win. Oh, and lo and behold, they've just attritioned into a position where they can no longer win. That's great, barbarians. That's great. Hopefully the barbarians will move on. If they don't, we're just going to have to do our exploit here because the barbarians, once again, are doing a 0 IQ play. Classic barbarians. Alright, now it would appear the barbarians are completely and utterly stupid and are just going to attrition themselves to death on our capital fort, which is fine. So we're going to begin our exploit. Now, to make sure you do it perfectly, you're going to want a few jazzy things. Firstly, you're going to want a save file of this save. So you just want to save the game. Now, this is Iron Man, so you can't particularly reload it if you do anything wrong. But if something terrible happens, just do an Alt F4 and reload the game. And they say safe scumming never pays. Anyway, so over here with our lovely barbarians, we can click to settle them. Now, settling them will convert them into a lovely freeman pop of the barbarians' religion. Now, this particular group are going to provide us with free tribesmen in the one province that they occupy, which is, of course, the city of Grania. An absolutely lovely city, but completely and utterly unremarkable. Now, they are always going to be happy to settle because, lo and behold, their opinion says yes. And so, you know what, ladies and gentlemen? It's time we begin our exploit. So you want to make sure the game is paused, and then you just want to hit enter to accept that they've settled. But as you can notice, the barbarians haven't disappeared. That's because the game's paused. The game needs to actually tick a day to process that the barbarians have just settled, which means we can click this button again and hit OK. And suddenly that's another free pop settled. But ladies and gentlemen, what if we could speed up this process? Well, you can. What you want to do is make sure you have an auto clicker and an enter key. So what you do is you hold down the auto clicker and then hold down the enter key. And lo and behold, this happens. So I'm just going to sit back, relax and hold down this just for quite a long while. Ah, lovely. Now, previously in Imperator Rome, I showed you that it would typically take about 20 years for a standard pop to grow. However, at the moment, we're gaining about 3 pops every millisecond, which is notably much more than any other country can manage.
One eternity later.
Right, so you know what? I think we're probably reaching a point where we have just enough barbarians to take the entirety of Rome if we really wanted. So wabam, that's enough. Now what you want to do is close this and allow a day to tick over. And wabam, the barbarians suddenly surrender and they've chosen to start settling down. Now, as you can see, something interesting has happened with our menus here. There's a very strong black line. And as you can see, that's because a large amount of menus are stacked on top of each other due to the fact that a large amount of events have all happened at once. So you're just going to have to hold enter and skip your way through all of these as well. There's a lot of them. If anything, hold both of your enter keys simultaneously to speed up this process. Actually, I found a way to speed up the process even more. You want to activate your auto clicker on this as well as the enter key. Just smash them simultaneously and wabam, there we go. Now, this game is a beautiful graphical game, and as you can see on this tiny settlement here, because there's not many people living here, there's kind of like just a few houses, nothing major. Now, the province next door, a ridiculous metropolis has formed, which encompasses the entirety of this settlement with houses. And the reason being is that there are 4,079 tribesmen here. So in this one province here, there are 4 times the population of Rome. This is the entirety of the Roman Empire, and 4 times that population live just here in the lovely province of Ultima Thule in Scandia. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen. That could be an issue. Also, our centralization is now at minus 67%, meaning we have some very happy tribesmen. Even though there are 4,000 tribesmen literally standing on top of each other who all claim they hate being centralized, they are in literal wonderland. They are so happy because they're the same culture, the same religion, and they couldn't even live in a better place. Oh, I do believe the game might have crashed. Oh no. What have I done to you, Imperator Rome? Come on, game, come to terms with what's happened. It's not too difficult. It's just standard Spiffing Brit malarkey. And because, of course, you have so many people living here, the game goes, right, you have a large enough population to spawn a mercenary army. The issue is, the mercenary army scales to the amount of people in the region, meaning we have a single mercenary stack with almost 300,000 men in it. Okay, that's perfectly fine. Anyway, I think it's time to march our armies home, and due to the ridiculous amount of men here, our tax income is going to start to increase. Yeah, it's going to get funky, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, and the settlement is giving us plus 185 tax income per month. Yeah, not bad. Not bad at all, really. So what are we going to do with that? Well, of course, we want to convert that into some monarch points. However, as you can see, the system's kind of broken at the moment. It doesn't really know what to calculate at. At the moment, it's offering me to convert 1,000 gold into a single oratory point. I don't know how much oratory power it's actually going to give me if I try and convert it. The game hasn't really come to terms with it just yet. And at the moment, we are currently gaining 3,000 manpower a turn, which is a significant improvement over the 33 manpower per month we were previously gaining, so yes, this isn't bad at all. Also, our maximum manpower stands at 940,000, and if we go over here to India, we can see that their maximum manpower is actually half of that. Yeah. The game has calculated that the tiny Norwegian nation of Grania should probably have a standing manpower pool twice the size of India. It's a perfectly balanced game, ladies and gentlemen. Honestly, I can't wait for the first DLC of this game, because that's just going to add in even more mechanics for me to break. Oh god, it's frozen again. Please don't break, Imperator, please. Okay, no, it's done it. And thanks to our incredible size of population, the clan chiefs now believe it's perfectly normal to march around with clan retinues of 12,800 men. In fact, they've trained them up to 17,000 strong cohorts. Not bad at all. Now, the reason why it is important to make sure the barbarians are of your same culture group is if the province that you have has a majority of a culture which is different to yours, you can't migrate. But of course, as we know the barbarians of this settlement were of our religion and culture group, we can start a migration, which is going to cost us 66 oratory power, but give us 20 units of migrating men. So we do that and we're bam. We have our first migration unit here, the first Granian migration. This is 20,000 men, and they can just settle wherever. So we're going to march this 20,000 men, and we're going to march them all the way down to Fosil. Now, whilst we're doing it, we should also probably force march them to make them even faster. So go, my incredible men, go! Now, 20,000 men is a large amount of men. Honestly, it's completely and utterly broken. But what if we wanted more? Well, this game says yes, because there are 4,000 men here. So if you want to raise up more migrating armies, the game's like, sure, go ahead. We'd love for you to do that. So that's exactly what we can do. Because at the end of the day, how many men does Rome have? Well, Rome has a solid standing army of 45 cohorts. So that's roughly about 40,000 men. So naturally, the way to defeat Rome's armies are to raise up larger armies of our own. As we can see, as the tiny nation of Grania, our standing cohort army is around about 85. Oh, and also, don't get me wrong, migratory armies cost money. They're not too cheap at 5 gold each. Oh, 5 gold per turn. That's so expensive. Oh wait, it's not. This province is generating 200. Game. Surely something's going wrong here. Oh god, the tribal clans, they're starting to raise up armies of 25,000 men. Oh god. So yes, one clan chief is now leading 31 cohorts. Oh, and it would appear our migrating tribe has arrived. Lovely stuff. So this lovely region of Augustinia, we're going to settle down a lovely tribe. Oh, and apparently that's counted as capturing a city, and so render unto Caesar achievement has been given to us. Sure, I remember doing that. Now, if we really wanted, we could start conquering our way all the way down to Rome and take it within the hour. However, ladies and gentlemen, I do believe I have showed off my very exciting exploit here today, and so all that's left is for me to ever so slightly break the game even more. As you can see, bam, generating 5,000 manpower a month. Not bad at all, but just how many men could we theoretically raise? So if we start spamming the start migration button, we can start seeing just how many men, theoretically speaking, we could get. And as you can see, we're bam. We've spent all of our oratory power, but we are now fielding an army of... oh good lord. I'm going to need to get my other armies out of the way if I want to see just how many men we have. Oh my goodness. Okay, so yes, we have a subtle army of... 500,000 light infantry? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please do remember that we're playing a tiny Norwegian tribe, and so our nation really shouldn't have a standing cohort army of 611,000. Oh god, what have we done? So yes, that's how large an army theoretically we could have. So at this point, it's physically impossible for us to lose the game. Oh god, this is fantastic. And of course, the events themselves are also scaled on the size of your nation, meaning this tiny little event here, which previously only gave us 30 gold, now gives us 824. That's not bad. And at this point, if we wanted, we could get our entire tribe and just start migrating it down and colonize the entirety of all of this. All of this land could be yours if you wanted to micromanage that much. I, however, don't have the patience. Now, another thing you can do in this game is pillaging, and for some reason the game allows you to pillage your own cities. So if you ever wanted a free source of monarch points as well, all you need is to make sure that this city here has a higher civilization level than 20, which, surprise surprise, can be gained by literally just building 20 marketplaces, which is exactly what we're going to do. And once you hit that point, you can just pillage it over and over again. Every 5 years, you pillage it, you get 100 monarch points in each category, and well, bam, you're done. Oh, and also don't forget, your population growth goes down, but it was going to go down anyway at minus 40%, so minus 25% doesn't matter. Commerce income doesn't matter because it's all tribesmen, and losing 20 opinion of yourself, that probably doesn't matter either. Now, at the moment, because we have 4,033 tribesmen, they are producing a base tax of 138 per month, and this is after having their entire output increased by 229%, because of course they are all 100% happy. Ah, god, this game. Okay, and then you move it on over to how much we're actually making, which is 230. The reason is because we're taking that 138 and then we're adding plus 40% because of the marketplace, plus 16% because of the magistrate, plus 15 due to the stability, and 5 for the property tax. Oh, and guess what? We just finished yet another marketplace, which means another 45%. Sure, we're technically losing one of these tribespeople. I think it's one every 3 months, but you have 4,000 of them. They're not going to go away until the end of the game. So the amount you gain from pillaging is not determined by the amount of people or the civilization level, it is in fact determined by the amount of buildings you have. Actually, I think it might be a mixture of the civilization value and the buildings. So this means if we build 403 buildings here, from pillaging it, we could probably gain about 1,000 monarch points per pillaging. I mean, we have 25 buildings at the moment. If we made it 250, that means we're gaining 1,480 per pillaging, and you can do a pillage every 5 years. So that's infinite monarch points, as well as infinite population, infinite money, infinite manpower, infinite armies. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been the Spiffing Brit. This is Imperator Rome, completely and utterly destroyed. I hope you've absolutely enjoyed watching. If you'd like to support me, and you have enjoyed it, feel free to give the video a like. It really does help me out. Thank you very much. Hey, you might even want to share this with your friends or put it onto the subreddit of Imperator Rome so that the game devs eventually fix it. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Feel free to subscribe. Somehow we managed to hit 400,000, and for some reason we're propelling ourselves to 500,000. Good lord, that's a lot. Anyway, I will see all of you in the next one. Have an absolutely lovely day. Farewell for now.